Okay, we're good. We're live.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's, if we could real quick, say our names so that we get them recorded. I'm Kristen Wiederhold.
I'm Laura Crittenden.
I'm Caitlin Jameson.
I'm Ammon Howard.
I'm Mikhail Little.
Beautiful. Okay, so we have two members who just joined yesterday. We could just take a minute if you had some questions, or do you need any clarifications on where we are right now in the class?
I joined yesterday. If I'm not mistaken, we just read Dr. John's, right? And we were supposed to discuss I think he gave us 8 questions today.
Yeah.
And then we're moving on through there. I think everything showed it was due Saturday or Saturday the 17th, right? What did it say?
I had one question, and it's probably not regarding to the case. It was stating where we had to something about meeting with a teaching assistant.
That is available to you if you need assistance.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay. So right now, there's only one error in the course, is that there's a case study quiz. And the way the course is written right now, it suggests that if you watch all 3 case videos, you'll be able to take the quiz. That, in fact, is not correct. You need to actually read the essay. And I'm not sure if Brother Brown got it submitted or got it linked up yet, but I sent it out to the entire class yesterday. Did any of you get that? I know Ammon did.
I read this. It's the how to analyze a case. I read it. I just took the quiz. I aced the quiz.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The entire quiz is based on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not the videos.
Not the videos.
Okay,
So
let's
I'll just tell you this much. Ooh, I'm echoing. Hang on a minute. I printed it out. I read through it with a highlighter and not getting in trouble for giving answers. Just read through it with a highlighter unless you can read through it on computer. And it's pretty much, it's not that difficult.
It's verbatim, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I took it yesterday as well.
Okay, excellent. So let's look at let's start through the questions, and let's look at number 7 and just get that one out of the way. Number 7 is, how do you analyze a case? Does anyone want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Okay, real quick, where did we find those questions?
The case study instructions.
Okay. I'm looking at analyze case study guide. I printed the wrong thing. So like I said, I'm a little behind.
If you go to week 1, and then if you click on Dr. John's product case, it says lesson 1 prep assignment. And there's 8 questions as listed as the prep assignment for today's case.
Okay. Thank you. Because I did not.
If it's easiest for me to go through the content and then check, you have to go through all those check boxes. If I just click through it, if you click through it, you won't miss anything. It'll take you through the whole week 1.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm listening, so keep going.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the actual questions. I've started answering them. So let's start with number 7. Amma, you were going to talk about how to analyze a case.
Yeah. So the video was actually the videos they did actually gave some pretty good hints on how to analyze a case. And I've done enough classes with case studies at this point that it's not too bad, but if you kind of get a broad picture of what's going on first. So in the video, they say read the introduction and then read the decision at the end, and then before you get into everything else. And so when I go through, I read those 2 sections, and then I go through and I find numbers, and I circle all the numbers I can find and list why they're important. So then when I get into the appendix and the exhibits, I showed that, yeah, it's a growing market. This is how much. And I start doing some rudimentary math there. And I go through and I get a lot of the numbers that I think are going to be important together before I ever start actually reading through the whole case. And then I read through it, and gives me a sense more of who the characters are, what their inhibitions are, what their strengths are. And then at that point, I'm ready to start typing because I have a general idea of everybody, what they are. I think I can answer those questions that are given by the professor. And then I have the numbers. I've started working on the numbers to get that to back up my case. And then I plug all those things in. This professor wants those included, so I plugged them all into Excel and then brought them back over and embedded them into my Word document.
Beautiful. Does anyone have any questions about that? It's what's in our textbook. I've actually done it that way for other classes, and I can usually get through a case study in approximately 60 to 90 minutes from the minute I pick it up to the minute I submit my response.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's about right.
Yeah. So if you follow the steps exactly as it's outlined, it really does go by very, very fast.
Awesome.
If you don't, you can just get bogged down in it for hours.
I know.
That's the thing, is especially with the math, I find it's really easy to get distracted by all the numbers and and to focus. I like what you said, Ammon, about finding important numbers and focusing on those first. And then if you need facts and numbers to back up your thoughts, then go find them. But it is easy to get distracted in all the exhibits.
I like the way he talked about it, where you just read the beginning and the end, and then stop, put it away, and make your own questions from what you read.
Yeah.
It goes by so much faster because then you've already got it teased out in your head.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to number 1. What do you think of Osher's process for identifying opportunities and building companies? Do anyone want to weigh in on that?
I can.
All right.
So I think that Dr. John's ability to identify future needs and potential markets is actually quite accurate. He takes a need in the economy or markets and he fills it. I think that this ability of his allows him to have great timing and great placement for his products and services. And then he builds the best team that he possibly can that he can possibly find to work with him.
If I could, I totally agree with what you're saying. One thing I love about John is that he is so observant. Like, you can tell he's this like hyper observant, like awesome thinker. And I was reading this case like dying because he is so, man, he looked at a normal market, existing strong market, like toothbrushes, right? And there's this huge gap and he found it and he filled it. And it's like this Grand Canyon of a market gap, and he figured out how to, and I was like, I literally read this and I just stopped for like 15 minutes and I was trying to think of like all the products in my house and I was like, I need to find a gap like that. Like, how do I make money off of this gap? Like, I have a 1-year-old and I was just thinking about like all of his toys and like all the gadgets that come with babies. And I was like, man, like I need to be like John Osher and find this Grand Canyon gap and figure out and just make money off of it.
Because when I read it and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how many $6 toothbrushes have I bought? And I won't say each of my kids have one.
Yeah.
I do too.
I mean, I'm looking at it because I remember when they first, Oral-B was, they're still a $50, $60 toothbrush.
At least.
At least. And I'm sorry, I'm not paying $50, $60 for a toothbrush.
Well, and what's interesting about the price point that he created for this is that the replacement brushes for the Oral-B
are the same price.
Is $6.
Yep.
Right.
And so he really tapped into the American mentality of new is better by providing a brand new toothbrush for the same exact price that you're using the old one for.
Yep, that's exactly right.
But I liked how when he, even in the design of it, when you read in the ending part where they still had problems, the consumer didn't mind even after 2 or 3 weeks going buying another $6 toothbrush.
Well, I mean, if I'm spending $50 on a toothbrush and that toothbrush malfunctions 2 weeks later, I'm going to be screaming mad.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm spending $5 on a toothbrush and it lasts for a month and then something goes wrong with it and it stops working, I'm like, yeah, it's $5.
Yeah,
You know?
it is. And
Yeah.
if we replace it, and even if we replace it, it's still cheaper than the $120 that it now costs for me to get that same toothbrush.
Yes.
One of the things that I liked about it, and this kind of envelops question 2 as well, was how he comes up with ideas.
I know.
He's not just picking ideas out of nowhere. He's picking ideas out of past experiences. When he started his conserve business, he built those things that are more energy efficient based out of his construction past. And then he moved from there and he saw a gap in baby toys. So then he moved conserve into baby stuff. And then when he started Cap Toys, he started back in that old product, and that led him to a spinning sucker, which then brought him to the same mechanic idea of a toothbrush. He builds off his past experiences, and it leads him down into the road of where he wants to be. You know, so so as soon as I graduate this December, I'll be taking over my family business, building furniture. And the only reason I can do that is because I have done construction for 6 or 7 years. So I have the knowledge base to lead me into that. And so this was one of the things I loved about this, was the idea of keeping your eye open through your past experiences for lessons you've learned that can lead to other business opportunities elsewhere.
It's constantly looking for it.
Yeah.
And I think that this is where we really come in between the difference between an entrepreneur and a businessman. I mean, there's a lot of overlap in that, but I think that Branson, who's the owner of Virgin Airlines,
Yeah.
He just sold it.
Well, one of the things that he says the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make is that they don't know when to step out of the business. And that's one of the questions that's on here is, should he sell or should he build it? I think that in the idea of having him build it, which of course is exciting for all of us because we all like to have something that's already successful, but his history is very clear that he seems to know when to step out.
Yes.
So, that leads to another question that we'll get to eventually. But all right, so number 3, is the spin brush a good idea?
Yes.
In hindsight, we have to say yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 4, why haven't larger companies already done a spin brush?
I wondered, I thought, does he have it so patent locked that it's not stating in here? Because I know he has the patent on pushing the button in the package, and how many kids push it when it says try me? Mine still do it today. They push the button.
Well, I think that question means is like before he came out with this brush, why do we think that Crest hadn't already come up? I think that's what that question means. Is that?
I think it does too, and I think that primarily what it is in a previous class we actually looked at this case study, not the spin brush, but the Oral-B and Braun and the competitive. First of all, it took them forever to get this to market. The millions of dollars they spent. I think that it was just an idea whose time had not yet come. And John was the one who capitalized on it first, and then went forward. So I think it was a market timing was primarily what I think.
I agree. That's the kind of the conclusion I came to, was it all came down to timing, and he timed it so well. And I think it even mentioned, I'm trying to find it in the case. Let's see. One of them had talked about, I think it was Procter and Gamble, had talked about, they had talked about making one like this, but they just hadn't got around to it, basically. And so he's lucky he got in when he did, because who knows, maybe they would have developed that within the next year,
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I actually had a little bit of a different view on how they had gone, on why they hadn't yet. And John has built a company that is super lean. He doesn't have extra people.
True.
Extra overhead. It is a lean, mean
outsourced machine.
Machine, and that enables them to do things for cheaper. Those high-end toothbrushes that Braun and Procter & Gamble, all of those guys were coming out with, the reason they're so expensive is because they put so much investment into building that thing.
Yep.
And he didn't. I mean, he started a business with $1 million in investment, and he was able to come out and turn around a toothbrush in just a couple of years and patent it and move on. And I think the reason he was able to do that was because it was so lean, and kept so lean, he didn't set his sights on a toothbrush with this and this and this doodad that makes it a $90 toothbrush. Since his goal was a $6 toothbrush, it's not as high tech, it's lower tech mechanics, so he was able to produce it for cheaper. And I think those other big companies are trying to protect their investment. They've put in millions of dollars to these high-end toothbrushes. They don't want to come in with a low-end product that's going to strip the market, and they're going to lose money off their high-end stuff.
Didn't he state
to come in and do that?
Sorry. Didn't it state in there that he hired people that probably were a little overqualified, that he wanted, they could take on more responsibility on their end? He didn't have to have 4 people, like you said, 4 engineers on one project.
Exactly.
And they also didn't have a lot of stockholders. You know, when you get into these behemoth companies, the manner in which they operate is very different from a lean company like his. In fact, on page 4 of the case study, it says one of his general mistakes, number 7, says he had too many unnecessary partners. So he had the agility that most of these behemoths don't. But here's where he's coming into issue, is that now that the IRI, the index, is identifying the sales, all of these behemoths are now going to start focusing on him in another way, which is why I think that the Crest licensing is so ideal, because they're already close to having this nailed.
Right.
It's better for him, I think, to partner with them so that he can share the market and gain market with them versus trying to compete with them, because I think that they would crush him.
Definitely.
Yeah, because he only had, what, 0.2% of the market at the end of 1 year?
Well, that's at the end of 1/4 of 1 year.
Okay, 1/4 of 1 year. I can't, sorry, I'm trying to turn the page.
A lot of information.
Well, he had points, yeah, he had 0.6 of the 4th quarter, which, you know, for a new company is great, but good luck competing with Gillette, who's got not almost over 50% of the company percentage.
Yeah, well, Gillette is actually, I'm not sure that Gillette is a fabulous opportunity. The Johnson & Johnson looks like a pretty healthy company. Though Procter & Gamble, without question, is the largest of all 4 of those identified.
Right.
So how much is the Spinbrush worth?
I just, you know what, for quick numbers, when it was saying that it sold 6,000 a day, so I just took the 6,000 times how many days in a year times $6. You know, if you just did the flat, easy teaching something, it was up 12 million.
When you submit those numbers, I would probably go in and figure out what percentage, because remember, Target and Walmart sell, their unit price is $5, and then everywhere else is $6. So I'm thinking that number is actually a little bit lower if, you know, Walmart and Target have 60% of the market. I don't know what it is. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I based all of my numbers on 5% for that reason.
Okay. 5.
Okay, so evaluating a company is done by establishing their revenue stream as well as their liabilities. When I value a company, I also think that management matters, and based on how he is, based on his personal experience and the staff he uses, I think he's just really in a great position. Yeah.
So I might have undervalued the Spinbrush and the whole company, but I took what their projections were for 2000. But at the end of the day, those are projections. If Procter & Gamble comes out with one in January to compete, then that share is his opportunity for doing 6,000 a day might just completely burn.
Which takes us to number 6. What should he do? I will tell you, I think that if he doesn't license with Crest, just based on how young the company is, I think that the amount of money he's going to need to spend to brand his spinning
Yes.
is huge, and he'll never be able to overcome Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
Because I look at it when I was looking at the annual financial information on the different ones, and since he runs a lean company, and then I'm one of those old fuddy-duddies. I look at the long-term debt. How much is he going to have to go to a bank and say to keep coming up with new product every year?
Yeah.
And
the R&D.
Yeah.
In it, and he's got good history and good relationships with sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it capitalizes once or twice on his relations with Walmart specifically, but just in terms of general, I mean, Target it mentions, but I think he has a pretty good connection network. So,
yeah. I think, I put his value of his company right around between $4 and $5 million right now is all. But that's because of what they did last year. That's because of their patents. That's because of the money they've raised and because of who's managing it. I put it around $4 or $5 million with the projections for what their sales should be next year. I think that he should try to license it with Crest, and he should really pursue that hard. If that doesn't work out, then within the next year or two, he should be looking with, if not in 2000, then certainly by 2001, he should be looking to offload the company and make, try to sell it for what millions he can and then readjust.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with.
So everyone's in agreement?
Yeah.
If he can't license with Crest and then put it up for sale.
yeah.
Because when you say that, I wonder if Crest is going to hold out and wait for him to put it up for sale.
Well, that was the other thing, is he could partner with any of the three. If it doesn't work out with Crest
Right.
is going to want in on it first, but he could sell and just manage, maintain 20% of the stock.
Yeah.
The one nice thing though about, I mean, just in sales in general, the nice thing about settling with Crest, and if it fails, then it fails and you can go on to the other companies, but you're always going to get more money if someone's coming to you rather than you're coming to them in disparity, right? So if you make it work with Crest, he's going to get a higher, he's going to make more money than if he's like going to the other companies. So if he can make that work, that's his ideal option, I think. And then, if that falls through, then yeah, go seek the other buyers, but if they're coming to you, take it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I think all those companies are going to want to partner with him because he has the patents.
Yes. They're going to want the patent. They're going to want those.
They don't have to put the R&D in and then apply for patents. He's already got them. He's already done that work. So it's just easy. It's easier for them. It's easy money for them. They don't have to do the work. They just have to do the licensing and then get money from it.
Which is beautiful.
Sounds nice.
It manages the goal of keeping everything small.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone who didn't contribute who would like to add on anything that we've talked about today? Excellent. All right. So the last question we have on this is what question you learned to ask as an entrepreneur. So just one thing that you learned through this experience as an entrepreneur. Ammon, what do you got?
Where's the hole in the market?
Yeah.
You took my question.
All right. So Laura, Caitlin, what about you?
Mine was find the Grand Canyon. That's exactly what he just said. So
Yeah. How about you, Mikhail?
I had two, and you guys both said them. So now I'm trying to think of a third one.
You don't have to, but those are great ones.
I know.
Go ahead.
Let's come back to it. I'll keep thinking.
Well, in addition to the things that we've talked about here, I think the other thing that's really important that I fully grasp is understanding the market. Because you can look at something and say, wow, that would be a great idea. But understanding what's already out there, what's coming down the line. I mean, are you going to spend $1 million on something that Crest has been working on for 3 years? you know, so I think understanding the market is key here.
Yeah.
All right, Michaela, it's a moment.
Geez, I don't know.
That's all right. You don't have to sweat it out.
I got one. How did, my question to him, how did they where do they come up with the idea? Like, where's the hole? How did he figure out the hole? What did he see in the market that made him want to go that way?
You know, those kinds of things could be anything. Are you guys all familiar with Pottery Barn Kids?
Yes.
Yes.
That was actually created by a vice president who went out on maternity leave and was disappointed with the furniture that was available to children.
Mm-hmm.
On maternity leave, she wrote an entire business plan and then presented it to Pottery Barn, and thus Pottery Barn Kids was born. So typically it could have been a grandchild of his. You know, when we're looking at the kids' toys, I think that's what really separates innovators from everyone else. They don't just look at something and say, "Oh, it's a spoon." They look at it and say, "Wow, how is that angled? And how often is it used? What kind of person uses it?" I mean, they start asking a lot of questions, which is what I think number 8 is about. Is what question did you learn to ask? Because I think that's what innovators do, is they learn to ask questions. Okay, Ammon. Do you have a time frame? So our assignment is to submit this, but in our posting, we need to put at what time in the video do we start the summarization? Because we're going to summarize right now.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I'm not even sure how to start a time frame, so let me see if I can figure it out real quick.
Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll just open it up after we're done and figure it out. That's okay. We'll open it back up again.
I got a question. If we go over 200 words in our summary, are we going to get docked?
No. He said,
okay.
In fact, based on the interactions I've had with Brother Brown, this one is what he considered a mini case, which is not encouraging.
All right, because I mean, I've had some professors that say if you go over the word count, you get docked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to have to read all of the essays. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and start the summarization. And then when we're done, would you go in, Ammon, and find out where it is?
Yeah.
And then email it out to all of us with that information, and then we'll all post it in our boards. So
Okay.
we all get credit for it. Okay. So number 1. So this starts the summarization. Number 1, what do you think of Osher's process for identifying opportunities and building companies? We thought that he built the best team and was an innovator with strong and successful history of entrepreneurship. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yep.
Right, go ahead. Did you have something, Ammon?
Nope.
Okay. Number 2, who is John Osher and how does he come up with his ideas? He was an entrepreneur with successful background in multiple companies. He's observant. And he understands the needs and wants of consumers and the possibilities it can create. Good?
Yep.
Good.
All right, number 3, is the spin brush a good idea? The answer is yes.
Yes.
How did he evaluate opportunities?
He saw a need.
He sees the need and the potential. Why haven't larger companies already done a spin brush? We came up with it may have been market timing, and that Crest was actually already on it. So they already identified the need in the market. Good?
Yeah, but then the other companies have too much in R&D. They're not as lean as John's was in the development part.
So that would be marketing timing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow for it yet, for them anyway. All right, number 5, how much is it worth? And what would you place a valuation on the company? We looked at it would be approximately 12.1 million, and that's averaged between $5 and $6 at $6,000 per day, or 6,000 units per day. And with a valuation between $4 and $5 million. What should John do in number 6? We agreed, all of us agreed unanimously that he should license it with Crest and possibly look at selling it to Crest if that was the way it kind of led to it. All right, number 7, how do we analyze a case? We decided following the essay method provided in the class instruction this week. Yeah?
Yes.
Agreed.
And then number 8, what did we learn as an entrepreneur? We learned understanding the market. We learned that, what else was there, guys?
Finding the need.
Finding the need, finding the Grand Canyon. What else? We had a couple of them out there. All right. Well, this concludes it. We can probably go ahead and shut it off. Turn off the recording anyway.
Okay.